Hi there, Jerry Usher with Debbie Georgiani. Great job, Debbie, yesterday, holding down the fort. I was out on the road a little bit, but settled back in here. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. And Debbie, looking forward to today's conversation because we have fantastic listeners who are really trying to do the right thing. And we're going to be talking today about what does openness to life mean? We hear that phrase presented to us by the church, and it really comes from God ultimately. And so we're going to ask those of you who are listening, call in and share what that means, how you're living an openness to life, regardless of your state in life, and how we all can be witnesses to the value and dignity of human life, whatever our state in life, our vocation is. 1-800-585-9396. Grab those phone lines while they are open.
Jerry, we did miss you yesterday. It was a very engaging show, but you definitely were missed, and we're glad you're back. But yes, today we're talking about having an openness to life, and what does that mean for us as Christians? So let's talk about it. Let's share our different takes on it, and hopefully when we walk away from this hour, we're going to have a better understanding of what it means to be open to life in a very general sense. Okay, so think big about this. One thing that happens, I think, I'm married, Jerry, and raised a family, and sometimes in the family setting, it becomes very limited in some degree because you're just focusing on your family, you're what's in front of you. You're not thinking of on a global scale, a worldly view. You're just kind of thinking what pertains to my particular family dynamics. Let's go even bigger and broader than that. So let's talk about what it means to be open to life today, and let's really see where this conversation, how it unfolds and how we learn. Here's the number. Phone lines are open. And you ready? When we give the number, it usually fills up. So that's good. 1-800-585-9396.
All right, if I may, Debbie, I just want to take a minute here and present to you, our listeners. Here's kind of a scenario that might help to frame the discussion here today. You're buried underneath the obligations of daily life, okay? You're just trying to make sure you get to and from work on time and perform well at work, and then you have errands to run, bills to pay, caring for the kids that you have, maybe extended family, different things that come up. Then you hear this phrase, openness to life. And again, it really ultimately has its origin in God. It comes to us through the church. And maybe you start to wonder, oh my goodness, am I living with a genuine openness to life? And maybe you begin to feel burdened by this obligation, which again is imposed upon us by God through the church. But as you said, Debbie, it sometimes becomes exclusively equated with the number of children. And, Pope Francis has addressed this, and the church, says in her official teaching that it's not always a matter of having 8, 10, 12, 15 kids, but it's also providing those children with the temporal, spiritual, and emotional needs that they require. And of course, Debbie, we've had on this show callers call in with very, very pained hearts because they're very open to life, but are having difficulty conceiving. So, as you said, Debbie, this openness to life has a real universal character to it, and we want to talk about that with our listeners.
So call in and share your take on this, your view of this. And here's the thing. We're not here to correct or criticize anybody's views, but we are here to learn and to understand where folks are coming from, so that we can get a better understanding of what it's like for the general worldview on this about being open to life. So if you have something to share about, or maybe you're a little bit confused, or maybe when those questions were asked of you before you took the vows during your marriage ceremony, and it talked about being open to children, did you have your fingers crossed behind your back thinking, well, yeah, I am. I'm open, but am I really open? There's all these questions we need to ask ourselves if we really are open the way God sees us as we should be open. So let's talk about that, because I think it could really help us. 1-800-585-9396. 9396 is the number. You could also text us if you don't have the time to be on the phone for about 5 or 10 minutes. You can text the letters EWTN to 55000. You wait for a response and you put your first name in, your question or comment, and hopefully we'll get it into the discussion. Here comes the calls now. That's really great. Let's talk about this in a real way. I mean, what's really on your heart about it? Maybe you're totally kind of confused about what it means to be open to life. Are there certain limits to it? Do I have to be open to everything and anything? At what part can I use my own judgment on things? So there's all these different aspects of it, but let's explore it together. 1-800-585-9396.
Well, and Debbie mentioned that she has raised a family. She raised kids. I have never been married and never had kids. But does that mean I need not be open to life? Of course not. So maybe you're a single person still in the single state, the single vocation. What does that mean for you in your own heart? How do you see yourself as being open to life, even though you're perhaps not married yet, or maybe you are anticipating remaining in the single state? 1-800-585-9396. And here's a couple of things. Debbie, you made the point. It's a chance to learn. We all learn, and you teach each other on this show. So your take today may set somebody else's mind and heart at ease about the fact that for serious reasons, listen to that, for serious reasons, they've chosen to delay having any children or their next child, and the church allows room for that. Or you may be the catalyst for a couple hearing what you have to share from your own experience and saying, you know what, maybe we need to be a little bit more open to life, and Debbie adding a new bundle of joy to their family. So there's a lot of great ways for us to learn and teach one another today.
Here's the number, 1-800-585-9396. You drive the show. This is your show, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and you. So always remember that. Call in. Don't hesitate. If you're nudged by the Spirit, we always say there's something you have to say. 1-800-585-9396. Stay with us the entire hour. You may walk away a little bit changed, a little bit closer to God.
This is Doug Keck, and this is an EWTN Bookmark Brief. I just finished interviewing Gregor Skorny and Janos Rozsakan about their book, The Guadalupe Mysteries, Deciphering the Code, published by Ignatius, available through EWTN's religious catalog. Janos, tell us about this book. Why did you put it together, and why is it important?
We decided to create this book because why Mother of God decided to came to the earth and met Juan Diego, the poor Indian. So we want to show not only apparition of Our Lady, but before a little bit history of Aztec Empire.
Wonderful book, Guadalupe Mysteries, Deciphering the Code, put together by Gregor Skorny and Janos Rozsakan, published by Ignatius Press, available through the EWTN religious catalog, EWTNRC.com, and this has been an EWTN Bookmark Brief.
The National Catholic Register is America's most complete Catholic news source with a comprehensive view of the world from a distinctly Catholic perspective. If it's shaping the world as we know it, you'll find it at ncregister.com.
Colin Donovan.
Entering university, I had the religious understanding of someone catechized in the 1960s. That changed when a fellow freshman asked me if a Catholic could use the pill. My uninformed answer was, sure, why not? I then went and read Pope Paul VI's encyclical Humanae Vitae and concluded, this is truth. I've never looked back in my love of our Catholic faith since.
Open Line with Colin Donovan, Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
This is Bishop John Brungart of the Diocese of Dodge City.
This is Colin Donovan, Vice President for Theology.
This is Father Larry Richards, host of Open Line Thursday. Thanks for listening to EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
We are Jerry and Debbie, and it's Take Two on EWTN Radio. What does openness to life mean to you? That is our topic today. Hope that we have set the table adequately. We do have one phone line that is still open. We're going to get to your calls here in just a second. 1-800-585-9396. And Debbie, it was interesting. I just typed over a note to you about we need to introduce the issue of the question of birth control and how that plays a part in this discussion of openness to life. And all of a sudden we hear that promo for Colin Donovan talking about how reading Humanae Vitae and changing his mind on the issue of birth control was critical in his really embracing the Catholic faith. So that's another thing that we should maybe love to hear somebody's take on how their mind perhaps has been changed about birth control by maybe listening to Catholic radio.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Catholic Radio does a great job at really presenting it in a way that we can all understand it better and apply it to our own lives and our own marriages. And I think it has helped shape a lot of people's future direction for their families because of the trust that we need to put over to God. We need to have in God instead of our trust in ourselves, which is we know sometimes is not the right way to go. So this is an interesting discussion, and like Jerry said, there's one phone line open, so you can jump in and grab that at 1-800-585-9396. Hurry to the phones and get in there because Matt's ready to answer. But we're going to go right to Lisa, who was first in. Way to go, Lisa, in Freeland, Michigan, listening on Ave Maria Radio. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to Take Two.
Thank you. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Hi, Lisa.
Good. Hey. I just had a comment. I'm Protestant. I listen to your program and several others, and as a result of that, my response to my daughter, who was recently married, was changed. So when she got married a year ago, we talked a little bit about, what they will do for birth control. And she said, well, we're just going to be, if it happens, it happens. And a few years ago, that response would have launched me into several different directions. But I realized that I was open to life. I was glad and happy that that was her response and that they were okay with whatever happened. 2 or 3 months later, they're pregnant and we're expecting our first grandbaby, so we're super excited about that.
Beautiful.
And like I said, this is just a comment that you can be open to life as a grandparent and not be judgmental of your kids' choices or timing for their family.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Go ahead, Debbie. I've got a question. Maybe you go first.
Well, I was just going to say, Lisa, that expands the topic that we're talking about today, because so many times we get caught up in our own little world that's happening in our own household. And like you said, with grandparents and other influences on the marriage and on the family, it can have an impact on people's choices. And I think what was really beautiful about what you just said is when you said listening to this program and other programs, it has kind of opened you up, if you will, in the sense of being able to look at things a little differently. And this is what I always say. I bring this back to how I feel about this openness to life. It is cooperation with God. Either we're going to cooperate with God or we're going to cooperate with man. It's that exactly. Simple in my mind. Yeah. And so your daughter is saying, you know what? I'm gonna let God, whatever happens and God is in control. And then now you've got this beautiful grandbaby coming, and how wonderful is that? And you can celebrate because God was in control, not man. And I think
exactly.
For me, that's precious. Jerry?
Well, yeah, and Lisa, I was just curious if you wish to share a little bit about this. You mentioned that your thinking had changed on this, and then you were surprised that your daughter and her husband had this same attitude as well. Did you have any discussions about that? Do you feel like you were able to influence that, or was this just something that they arrived at, perhaps maybe with the prompting of the Holy Spirit on their own?
I believe they arrived at it with the prompting of the Holy Spirit. I hadn't talked a lot about that. All I had said was to ask them to think about it. I wanted them to talk about it and think about it before they got married, so there were no so they could be ready for a surprise. And they were already open, and they were already willing and ready to have a family if it happened. The interesting thing, though, is so many times people, they want to wait, and they want to wait until their careers are established, which is fine. I have other kids that are doing that. She was different, and she was open, and I encouraged her differently. I was happy and encouraging to her, which I hope then gave her some peace and contentment, knowing that, they weren't going to be judged, or there wouldn't be a negative feelings
right
about the pregnancy, because we're super happy and excited, and
right
and left
right.
it up to them and didn't try to tell them what to do.
Right. I think that's beautiful, and that support that you gave over to her and her husband, I think, is going to bear many blessings. That's my just thought on it. Go ahead.
For some reason, I just think of, so much suffering of the women, girls, especially young girls, who are pressured to have abortions, who maybe wouldn't have, because other people in their lives were confused and scared themselves, and encouraged an abortion. And so it's really, like you said, it's a bigger picture. It's kind of it can involve everybody. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to make people feel bad. I don't mean to say it that way. But for us, mm-hmm. it was nice to have an opportunity to encourage her
right.
to have a baby.
Right, absolutely. So. Well, blessings to you and that beautiful baby that's coming your way. I think it's going to just really brighten up your entire family. I feel that way.
Already has. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, one last thought, Lisa. this is how God works. You've heard the saying, we cannot outgive God. We can't be more generous than God. Your daughter and son-in-law have chosen to go a very generous route. This openness to life, allowing God to be in control. This is not a criticism of anyone in your family, but I just feel like that could be the conduit through which many, many graces and blessings are going to come into your entire family because of their willingness to cooperate and be mm-hmm. obedient to God. Again, no criticism of anybody else in your family, but so we're happy for you,
exactly
Lisa.
What you're saying. I thought the same thing. I thought maybe this is one of many now.
Yeah, watch out. God's going to do stuff.
Keep us posted
Thanks,
on your
Lisa.
expanding family, Lisa. We love the call. Absolutely. You're precious. We can hear it in your voice. What a great grandmother you're going to be. I'm curious of what you're going to be called, Jerry. I always want to say, what are you going to be called? Glamma, Grandma, Nana? Everybody's got a different name for Grandma. Okay, thank you, Lisa. God bless you. Linda in Texas, you're calling in from Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Linda. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call, and I do appreciate all you guys do. It's a wonderful show. I'm just calling to let you know that when I'm in the 70s growing up, with all the confusion of women's lib and all that stuff, I had aborted life. And because I was scared and I was wanting a career, etc. And then after a point in time, I said, what in the heck am I doing? I became pregnant, and I married this gentleman. And then after that, he was very abusive to me, and I gained total custody of him. It was very hard to support the child on my own because the court had severed his rights. Yet, I continued to work hard, and then I got pregnant again, and then I had was scared actually because I was working 3 jobs trying to make ends meet, and then I had a sister who could not have children, and I adopted the child to her and her husband, and then after that I had 2 other children. Out of wedlock, of course, but yet I was not going to ever have an abortion again, no matter what difficulty I would run into, because of the fact that life is so precious, and the lessons that the children can teach you, it's not about money, it's not about all those things that society would tell you. It is that beautiful gift of their life. I could never, I asked God to forgive me for all the ignorance that I had, but it's the pressure of society, and I think we were brainwashed in a certain way in order to say it was just a blob of cells, but no money in the world is worth not having a child. And as a result of it, the children are good children. the fathers abandoned me and the children, and I said, "You please pray for them," because the fact that they have that father wound in their heart, and that is one of the hardest things that I feel that our children, in my situation particularly, a single parent have. And when they take no interest in the child, it really wounds them. And you try to do whatever you can to get the mentors and priests and religious in order to help them. However, it's still there. And I ask that you please pray for them. They're good kids. They're still growing up. Yet at the same time, that we have a wonderful relationship between my sister and the adopted child that I had adopted to her. And I'm so grateful that I became open to life. I always was, but I just was stupid about it, and I let Satan just tempt me, and it was more of a financial situation, and I think that I was ignorant of the resources that were there as well. But
Right.
I'm so grateful for life.
Well, Linda, that sounds like you're in a really wonderful, peaceful place now in your life, which is great. And that's what we all pray for, because God is of the moment. And so it's good that you're in that wonderful place where you have seen all of your life experiences, and you've come to a place where you can have that deep spirituality and that understanding. Like you said, you're open to life. One thing that you said, I think twice or three times, you used the word being scared. And when we are frightened, when we're scared, it paralyzes us. Linda, it's not an excuse for doing things. It's not a reason, but we can understand why girls, young girls, are scared into this idea that everything's going to crash and burn if this child comes into the world. Okay,
Right.
I get that, and it's a very unfortunate, because it doesn't have us make a really good decision and choice to cooperate with God when there's that fear that is standing in front of us. And that is why, Linda, your story is going to help a lot of young girls who are listening, or even people that are closed off about this idea that girls who become pregnant need to have those resources available to them, the support available to them, the ultrasounds available to them, so they can see exactly and make a wise, good choice.
Right.
Okay? And hopefully the choice would be that they choose life.
Right.
Okay, so Linda, I'm not trying to excuse anything that happened, but it sounds like you're in a good spiritual place, and am I right about that?
Yes, I definitely am.
Good.
I have forgiven myself. It took me a while, but at the same time, it does work on you after all these years.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that God has forgiven me. It's just a matter of, I can't believe I was so stupid and and naive to the just ignorant to the culture and trying to be part of the culture and choosing a career instead of a beautiful child that will always can never go wrong with a child. And
Right.
I would never ever I would ask for any person, that any woman or man considering having abortion, please do not have one. It is a gift from God. You will reward the rewards are so great, even though it's painful, and you come to terms with the proper help and with proper guidance from your priests and religious and friends that love you. It is just, I beg of you, don't. There are resources now, so many more resources there, and I would like to eventually get more involved as my kids older, so that I can also spread be silent no more as well, and to try to help other children, other women and families to never ever consider having an abortion. That every child is the gift of God, and they are the joy of my life.
Yes.
And I'm grateful
Linda,
to God that He saw me worthy.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, you have made a journey that I know a lot of our listeners maybe haven't even set out on yet, or are on that journey right now. So, Linda, thank you for calling the program today. because in spite of you called it stupid, I would Debbie and I would say probably young and scared and nervous and uninformed and all of those things. Again, not to excuse it, but you have turned that into so many good things, and the wisdom that you've shared with your other boys. You tried to get priests and other male mentors into their lives. You mentioned the father wound and all of that. Linda, you do have a story to tell. You've got so much wisdom to impart to other people. So please, thank you for calling this show, but don't limit it just to calling Take Two or any other Catholic radio show, but do what you can to get involved, and you are really going to help save people from maybe some of the heartache that you went through, or help pull them out of the heartache that they're already in. So, Linda, bless your heart. We've got a quick little break here coming up. We're going to pray for you. Please keep us in your prayers as well. And Debbie, wow, what an amazing call.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. Great hearts from our listeners, and I just love your stories and the way you view things, because you're growing in faith, and that's wonderful. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We know you like listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, but have you thought about bringing them to your next event? No matter what type of event you're hosting, parish mission, conference, or retreat, trust Jerry and Debbie to make it come alive. Begin the process today of taking your presentation to the next level of success. For information on booking Jerry and Debbie, visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo. Living the Beatitudes with Father Bjorn.
Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. We get what we look for. Saint Therese of Lisieux has an interesting insight on this. Once in a discussion over the possibility of avoiding purgatory, the future saint told another member of her community, Sister Maria Fabronia, that God was more father than judge. And in this debate, she finally took the liberty of saying to the other sister, "If you look for the justice of God, you will get it. The soul will receive from God exactly what she desires." Are we full of wounds and anger and hurt, and do we want to inflict that on other people? Are we allowing God to heal us? If we receive His mercy, we have to show it to others. The Beatitudes are the heart of Jesus' message. Let's be transformed by them. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic. Looking for a solid and dependable Catholic radio station in your area? One that's uplifting and authoritative? A trustworthy tool for the new evangelization? God may be calling you to a mission in Catholic radio. Find out how you can start a Catholic radio station where you live, powered by the truth of the Church and EWTN's dynamic radio programming.
Contact me, Jack Williams, at 205-795-5756 or jwilliams@EWTN.com.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
You're tuned in to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. On this program, you drive it with what we call your takes, your experiences, your life stories, your questions or comments. Today, what does it mean to you to be open to life? Are you married? Are you single? Have you raised your family already? Maybe you aren't able to have children, but your heart just beats out of love and longing to have a child. That's definitely open to life. Share your experience, your take at 1-800-585-9396. Henry has been waiting in Rochester, New York, listening to EWTN Radio on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Henry. Welcome to Take Two. How are you?
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I have an adult son who is autistic, and he's in a group home. And I find that being open to life for him means to go to bat for him as an advocate to get him the least restrictive environment. But that's a battle of semantics. The agency and the government sees that as being totally independent and hands-off, whereas he needs prompting, he needs guidance, he needs support, and I have to be able to be willing to make a sacrifice to spend my time to see to it that he gets that. It's a process of educating and re-educating staff that there's a lot of turnover, and it takes a lot of patience, but being open to his life requires me to spend my life.
Right. Henry, fantastic point. And this was something I touched upon very briefly in the opening segment of the show. Life, as we understand it as Catholic Christians, and as God certainly understands it, doesn't simply mean being conceived or emerging from one's mother's womb. But we also mentioned the temporal, spiritual, emotional needs all throughout our lives. You know, parents are called to provide for that. And you've got a unique situation, Debbie, which I think is absolutely beautiful. Henry, you are still caring for your son, but you are, I'm not sure if you used the word advocating or not, but
Yes,
Debbie, it's beautiful, Henry, that you, and it's unfortunate that it sounds like in a certain sense you have to kind of be paying close attention, or he's not going to get this care and the quality that his life, Debbie, his dignity, his worth really truly deserve.
Absolutely. And Henry, that's your son is your son, and that's who you helped to bring into this world. But it is now your vocation to educate and to really enlighten the rest of the world that is really in a dark state, that they don't really get the whole idea of life from the womb to the tomb. They don't understand what it means when the soul is there in life. And so what does that mean? I mean, what does that look like? Nobody ever addresses the soul. And so, Henry, you've got a vocation that is, I think, is beautiful, and you're open to it because obviously you have taken it on because of the love that you have for your son. But in a bigger sense, it's going to help to shape minds and hearts for eternity, Henry. And sometimes we get these situations in front of us and we think, wow, this is what my life is going to be like. Well, but you're setting the stage for an eternal gift to others. There's so many blessings, I think, come from your willingness to go out there and educate and to get people to understand the importance of life. So I just say I pray for you that you have incredible strength and perseverance to keep going for your son and to help all of us. What do you think about that? I mean, do you ever conceive? Do you ever kind of think about that you're in this vocation now?
Yeah, I haven't recently, but thank you for reminding me because I need all the help I can get. Sometimes I get discouraged, and it's nice to know you have some support, I just came from a meeting with the staff of my son. He's had some difficulties lately, and I find that it's a matter of continuing to educate, and but it's very important for me to impart the attitude that, that he can respond to this, and it's important for them to be interested in providing a response on their own part. Mm-hmm. But I hadn't really thought about it from the standpoint of influencing them, from the eternal standpoint. But thank you for pointing that out to me.
Yeah. You're going to impart that. You're going to impart that maybe not by words, Henry, but by example, by the witness of your life. So, thank you, brother, for the phone call. We appreciate that so much. We have jammed phone lines here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Openness to life. You've heard the phrase, most likely. What does it mean to you? What's your state in life? Are you single? You can still be open to life. Being open to life could also mean you've got several kids, and for serious, grave reasons, as the church lays out for us, you could say now is not the right time to have another one. So we want to talk about that and your understanding of that. 1-800-585-9396. Carla, thanks for your patience listening on our YouTube channel in El Paso, Texas. Hi, Carla. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi. Well, I wanted to share my story. Before I found God, I became pregnant, and the man that I had the child with, or that I became, was going to have a baby with, asked me to have an abortion. I thought it was only fair at the time to look into it, even though I knew in my heart it wasn't right, and I knew morally it wasn't right, but I thought I would look into it. The night before I went to the abortion clinic, I had a dream where I saw my daughter's face, and she looked exactly like I did as a baby. So I just remember saying, that's me. And so I went to the clinic, and I thought I would get counseling. I thought that I would, because I had searched it online, and it seemed like a place where they would, talk to you. But that wasn't the case. They were there for one thing, and that was, just to get the job done. But I didn't do it. And my daughter turned a year last month in April, and what ended up happening was that my life was completely changed around. The man that I had my daughter with is a great, great father. He's amazing to both of us. But we went through a very, very difficult time where, I was very angry with him because he wasn't going to be with me, and I already had a child. So I was in a situation that I never thought I would be in, and I hit a very, tough time in my life, and I thought I was going through depression, and I just hung on to God. And I started going to church. I started reading the Bible. And I had very close friends or close people, people that I wasn't really close to before, that I didn't even know were close to God, that really helped me a lot to get closer to God. My older son goes to Catholic school. I started teaching the Catholic school, or not the Catholic school, for the First Communion. I teach the kids on Sundays. And my daughter has just been a blessing, a huge blessing. Now I see why I saw her face. I believe that God was trying to call me. God was calling me. And, she's been a huge, huge blessing for all of us.
Well, Carla, I just wanted to say we've heard of a few examples in the Bible where God uses dreams that are very miraculous to change people's hearts, and you are very blessed, because we could only pray that other women and young girls would get those dreams the night before they go into an abortion clinic, and you were blessed. So God really reached his hand down, allowed you to have that dream, and it prompted you to make decisions that are just going to bless your life and bless you in eternity. And I want to say to you, thank you for being so in touch with that, because some people could disregard it. They maybe would have woken up and said, "Oh, I was just imagining things, or it's fear, or this or that." But you acted on it, and look at the amazing things, the fruitful things that are coming out of your life. The spirituality. You're in ministry, teaching the faith. You've got this beautiful family. It sounds like this father is a good father. Is there hopes that there is? Are you together, or how is that working out?
We are not together. I hope and I pray and I ask that everybody pray that he opens his eyes, just the way God opened my eyes to a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So I started, I've been praying a lot, and we've actually gone to Eucharistic adoration together to pray.
Good.
But his heart is a little bit hardened right now, so I pray that it's softened, and I ask for everybody to please pray for him. We invite him every single week to Mass, and he probably, gets tired of it, but I'm not going to stop trying. And I know that God was also calling him as well.
Right. Well, just what Jerry said earlier with Henry, just by your example, Carla, and your daughter, and her, when you instill the faith in her, so many times children will bring their parents back into the faith. That's what the Catechesis of the Good Shepherd is all about. It's the religious education program. It's the Montessori-based program where children bring the adults back into spirituality. It's amazing what children can do. So let's continue to pray, continue to go to adoration with him. I think that's wonderful. And oh my goodness, we just keep us posted, Carla. We're going to be praying. The whole Take Two family now will be praying around you. Jerry?
Thank you.
I just wanted to say something, Carla, that you mentioned this dream and you saw yourself as a baby. And in this world, this culture of death that wants to depersonalize the human person, especially unborn babies, we need to, if I can put it this way, repersonalize them. In other words, when we give birth, when we have a child from a man and woman coming together, hopefully in matrimony, it's a part of them. It's not just this, the world wants to say it's this blob of tissue, to totally kind of distance what that beautiful creation is from the man and woman who conceive that child. But there's DNA, there's looks, like you said, that resemblance. We need to realize when we give birth to a child, we're in essence, in a way, giving birth to ourselves. I think in a very real way, through the flesh and blood and the chromosomes and the DNA and all of that. And so if we think about it that way, Debbie, then perhaps it could help to soften some hearts and change some minds, because it's a little piece of us. It's not just this thing that's out there that we need to kind of get rid of because it's a problem. And if we realize that we're doing harm and potentially ending a life that has us in that life, maybe that'll change some minds. I don't know.
Right. It's very real, very intimate. I think you said that beautifully. Carla, thank you so much. God bless you for your call. Real quickly, I just wanted to go back to Rebecca from San Antonio, Texas, dropped from the line. But Rebecca, if you're listening, I think I saw the comments correctly that you were inquiring somewhat about NFP, Natural Family Planning. Can we just suggest for everyone to just visit the site foryourmarriage.org, foryourmarriage.org. There's resources there, information about NFP, all sorts of different articles that you can read about, and it's an initiative of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. So it's very good, very sound. So please visit it. It would help with those questions about NFP. Okay, Jerry.
All right. Back to your calls. Take two with Jerry and Debbie. Is it, boy, my eyesight this type is really small. Karis in Maryville, Missouri. Did I get the name right? Karis? I'm sorry.
Yes, it's Karis.
Karis, okay.
Yep.
Awesome name. Thank you so much for calling us, Karis. What's your take on this?
Well, I was just listening when you were talking a couple callers back with Linda, and she and Debbie talked a lot about young women being scared, and sometimes that being what leads them to even consider or follow through with having an abortion, and coming about that with and after the fact, like, they need to know what their resources are. They need to know who might be there to help them, because they're scared of whatever their situation might end up being. And my thought on that was, I think a lot of that comes from the way society and some people try to approach why you shouldn't have sex before marriage. Why you should abstain from being sexually active, and it's all the consequences that could come from that. You could contract a disease, you could you could end up pregnant, and if you're pregnant and have a child out of wedlock, then it's going to be hard financially for you, and what if the couple doesn't stay together, and all these what ifs that are all very negative. Whereas if that approach is taken more in the way that, like, the Catholic Church with the theology of the body and all the reasons, the positive reasons why it's good to abstain from premarital sex, then it's not such a negative thing. I mean, I guess I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. Go ahead.
So just having that, so they have all these negative things that can happen if they basically get caught because they end up pregnant. Well, then of course their initial reaction is
fear.
Is fear, because I just did this thing that they told me not to do because all these bad things are going to happen, and now these bad things are going to happen. So let's just quit. Let's just get rid of it.
Exactly.
And
Well, and Karis, here's the thing. That's exactly why the Catholic Church is so amazing in the wisdom that it has in our church, is because it does educate us with Humanae Vitae and John Paul II's theology of the body, and how we are to understand what it means to to value life and to understand what life means, like I said at the beginning, from the womb to the tomb. And when we understand it in that context, then we respond and react in our behaviors accordingly. And if we stand outside of it, then the church, with so many beautiful graces and mercy, with the sacrament of reconciliation, ushers us back on that path. And so it's important that we do educate from early on. That's why I've struggled, Karis. I will tell you, I've struggled tremendously at this idea that why in the world do we not allow these girls who go into these abortion clinics not to see the ultrasound? I can't understand it. How do you educate anybody? How does somebody make a sound decision when they don't have all of the facts?
Yes, but the facts don't get them paid.
Exactly, because it revolves around making money. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, and sometimes the facts compound things. Because if they realize, first of all, they're not really sure, they don't have all the information, then they see maybe an ultrasound or something, and they go, this really is a baby. That means food and diapers and school and education. And that can maybe compound the fear and the anxiety, because then all of a sudden it becomes real, it becomes concrete what it is that if you follow through with this pregnancy, what that's going to mean, and that can help to cloud a decision as well. So a lot of things here, but I think, Karis, you made some great points.
Well, and I think it's so much, I'm a mother of 2 boys, and so as that, but I have lots of nieces on both sides, and so much of all this education before and after is geared toward girls and what girls should do to avoid getting pregnant, and then what do girls do once they have gotten pregnant, and they can't get pregnant alone.
Right.
So I think that there is also needs to be a stronger effort on both sides, before and after, of like me teaching my kids that I have a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old, like, why is it important for you to respect that of a woman and, of a girl? Like, you're taking, that's something that's meant for someone that she's going to spend the rest of her life with, and it might not be you, Right. And I think boys get overlooked until kind of after the fact, and then expecting them to take responsibility for it. And
right. Yeah. So education for both boys and girls at a very early age.
It's much easier for the guy to just disappear. He's not carrying the baby. So anyway,
right.
So a lot of issues here that are very important to the conversation.
Karis, you make a great contribution to this conversation. Thank you so very, very much with your insight into this. We're talking about being open to life, and we're going to move right along. And Karis, have a beautiful rest of your day in Missouri. Sherry in Buffalo, New York, Station of the Cross. You're up next. We're getting close to closing out the show, but we wanted to get to you, Sherry.
Hi, Debbie and Jerry. I love your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll try to keep it brief. I'm struggling. My niece, who has been brought up in the Jewish faith, had an abortion about 4 months ago, and I tried to step in and really with a lot of the knowledge that I learned from the Station of the Cross, and was unsuccessful in trying to influence her to not have an abortion. And now I feel like I'm in a place where I want to influence her to heal, but based on the difference of religions and beliefs and confession and so on and so forth. And, I don't, there's so many different things, but I want to help her. And then I also, it's a fine line, because I feel like I lost a family member based on the decision that was kind of forced upon her by her parents. And, this show just spoke to me, because I've been struggling with it ever since, and I feel like I'm kind of in a lost space.
Mm-hmm.
Just one quick comment, Debbie. I know you've got something, but it sounds like there was a lot of pressure put on her, Sherry, including by her parents, which is, I won't even comment on that. That's just that's not good right there. Not to judge the parents. Maybe they looked at this through the eyes of fear as well. But the reality is that this act has happened now, and I think the intimate bond between a mother and a child. I'm not a mother. I've never obviously been one, but Debbie, you would know. That this bond is so intimate that. Even after the abortion like this, and no matter what I believe it was your niece, Sherry, no matter what she does to try and move on from this, there's going to have to be a grieving process. There's going to have to be an openness to God healing there. And this is, Debbie, I think a great place. This is a beautiful opportunity for Sherry. It's over. It's done. We pray for God's mercy and forgiveness. But now Sherry has an opportunity to really be an agent of healing here.
Yeah, especially if she's expressed a sadness or a sorrow that she's, struggling with. You mentioned that they are of Jewish background. A part of my family's extended family is Jewish, and depending on if they're Reformed or Orthodox or conservative, there's different views on abortion. And so you don't really know where her come from or her family's come from is unless you understand that. So that there may not be an expressed sorrow that comes out of it, although internally she may be struggling. So if it were me, Sherry, I would suggest just really devoting some dedicated prayer for her, and pray to the Blessed Mother to really help her when she does come to the realization that she made a very huge decision in her life, and then just pray that the Blessed Mother is there to comfort her and to guide her through. That's what I would do. The prayers are very, very important at this point, depending on if she's never expressed anything. So I don't know if that helps at all, Sherry. What do you think?
No, of course. Thank you. I'm sorry, you're a little emotional about it. I really appreciate it. And, I feel like the barrier between, I struggle with just wanting to be able to tell her to go to confession. And this is, but I can't do that. So I really appreciate your points of view. And I think, obviously me calling in today was the guidance that I needed. And it is definitely something I struggle with because I think she was so misguided in so many directions, and I fought for her to the very end, and then she basically shut me out and silenced me, and so I struggle with that because, I realize at this point, I guess that's all there is I can do right at this point is to pray. So I certainly appreciate both of your points of view, and I love you guys, and God bless.
We love you too,
Sherry.
Sherry.
We love you too, Sherry. And again, just be open to God working through you. And I would just suggest, if you have opportunities, take her to lunch, shower her with love and mercy. Don't even talk about the abortion issue. Just how are things going in your life? How can I support you in moving forward and being the best person that you were made to be? And just by letting her see Debbie, someone who really loves and cares for her in spite of what she's done, because her conscience is going to be hurting her over the situation, and then shame can come in, and
she may not even realize what it is.
The whole self-worth can take a hit and all of that. So the most important thing in her life could be Sherry right now, just simply showing her human love and God's love, maybe not on those terms, but
and I also think Sherry needs to relieve herself of the guilt, because you did everything you could do. I mean, other people have the right to choose what they want to choose. They have that will, and you did your part, Sherry, so you should feel very good about that. Spiritually, there's so much more we could do with the Blessed Mother. So she's our ultimate mother. She takes care of all of us. She's watching everything that happens. And in this 100th anniversary of Our Lady of Fatima, we should rely on the Rosary more and more than ever. I am a firm believer of it, Jerry.
Absolutely. Well, we still have Jan and Kathy and some others on the line. We reach this point in the program every day. This is our pain. Debbie's and my pain is when we hear that music rolling at the end and you're still waiting on the line. Our sincere apologies. Feel free to email us, take2@EWTN.com. But Debbie, interesting show tomorrow. Could be very revealing from our listeners. I didn't study for this.
Yeah, where are you going with that? Okay, you can just wait till tomorrow.
Well, no, we all maybe go to college, get a degree, think this is where I'm going to spend my career, and 30 years later, you're in a completely different field. So have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll talk tomorrow.